Jimmy Kimmel recounted an incredibly moving account of what happened to his newborn son this past week.
My wife, Molly, gave birth to a boy, a baby boy. His name is William John Kimmel. The operation was a success.
And he ended his monologue by talking about the less fortunate and how they would be affected by an Obamacare repeal.
You know, before 2014, if you were born with congenital heart disease like my son was, there was a good chance you'd never be able to get health insurance because you had a pre-existing condition. If your baby is going to die, and it doesn't have to, it shouldn't matter how much money you make.
It's basically a plea.
Let's stop with the nonsense. This isn't football. There are no teams. We are the team. It's the United States. Don't let their partisan squabbles divide us on something every decent person wants.
He's right that healthcare isn't a partisan issue, but unfortunately we can't all agree. Yes, every decent person wants to protect healthcare for all Americans, but a lot of people just aren't decent. And usually, those are the people that end up on CNN panels. Or if they haven't been hired by CNN yet, they're usually conservative columnists like Charles Hurt, who wrote an insane piece on the Washington Examiner titled, "Shut Up, Jimmy Kimmel, You Elitist Creep," calling Jimmy's plea to stop defunding healthcare services to children a slobbering, wet kiss to bureaucracy. Like, who watches that 13-minute emotional monologue and thinks, wow, fuck this guy, what a creep, I'm gonna go all in. But the bar apparently can be set lower. And I present to you my case, Joe Walsh.
Former Congressman Joe Walsh tweeted, quote, "Sorry, Jimmy Kimmel, your sad story doesn't obligate me or anybody else to pay for somebody else's health care."
By the way, a lot of you probably don't know this, but Joe Walsh is not just an asshole. He's also known as Deadbeat Dad Joe Walsh for refusing to pay child support, a case he had to settle in court. So yeah, not exactly a surprise there, Joe, that you don't care about other people. You don't even give a shit about your own kids. And then you had congressmen presently in office eager to add their 2 cents and push forward their agenda on the Obamacare repeal, like Freedom Caucus member Representative Andy Harris.
Pre-existing condition coverage will actually be strengthened under the MacArthur Amendment because it'll add several layers of protection, including establishment of high-risk pools.
Here's Andy Harris totally lying to your face, claiming that high-risk pools strengthen Obamacare's pre-existing condition enforcement. This is a classic Republican argument following the other classic, leave it up to the states. And it's also bullshit. Why wouldn't congressmen who refused federal funding for Obamacare's Medicaid expansion not throw out pre-existing conditions and leave it up to the industry professionals because they know better? But you might be thinking, what motive does Andy have to lie to us, Hassan? Why would he do this? I don't know. Maybe the $240,000 in contributions health professionals made to Andy's campaign might have something to do with it. Or he just wants poor people to die. You decide. But Andy's not alone. Other commentators also use this viral moment to make their own false claims on television.
That was an incredibly emotional plea, but it massively confused the politics at hand and the policies at hand.
Translation. Yeah, that was sad, but now I'm about to say some shit that's totally misleading because CNN pays me to be a contrarian.
There is no part of this policy or bill that is saying we absolutely are going to take away pre-existing conditions without some other element there.
Yeah, other elements like the high-risk pools that Andy also mentioned that are proven to be insufficient or non-inclusive. We've tried that before. That's why we had Obamacare. But let's move on to another panelist on yet another CNN show. Here's what pundit Matt Lewis had to say about Kimmel's plea.
I thought it was a little cheap, though. Look, as a father, I can understand the passion I think is sincere. I don't think that this is the right move for him to do, to politicize this. This is a guy who's incredibly rich, of course. He's not going to have a problem.
Yeah, except he acknowledges his privilege in his plea. This is an argument for those less fortunate who do not have the same resources, who don't have the same access. Something you all seemingly forgot about. And by the way, the problem I have with this is that it's not on Fox News. This panel's not on the Blaze Network. It's on CNN, the most trusted name in news. And I get it. It's incredibly difficult to fill 24 hours of the day with news, even though our Supreme Leader makes it much easier for all of us. But your panels are starting to sound like a watered-down political version of the Real Housewives of New Jersey. But I guess the question I have for everyone attacking Kimmel is, who are you guys protecting here exactly? Like, is this a battle for logic? Is it ideology? Is it just because you want your team to win no matter what? Because even if it's party loyalty that pushes you to support the Obamacare repeal so blindly, using Kimmel's emotional monologue about a personal experience regarding his newborn is abhorrent and a new low even for you cucks. I mean, seriously, is this really the hill you all want to die on? For those of you who made it thus far, I want to leave you with a little anecdote from that same exact interview that Representative Andy Harris had where he talked about Obama.
This is made up. I mean, the former president doesn't understand health care insurance, and it's obvious.
Oh, the former president doesn't understand health care.
Nobody knew that health care could be so complicated.
Yeah, I rest my case. I'm Hassan Piker. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Hassan D. Piker and on Twitter at Hassan the Hun. And this has been The Breakdown.